You were never good enough. The job interview that rejected you. The person who walked away. The dream that slipped through your fingers. But what if rejection isn't the end? What if it's the beginning of something greater? Every great success story starts with a no. So why does rejection feel so painful? And more importantly, how can you turn it into your greatest advantage? Let's find out.
The truth about rejection.
Rejection is painful, but it is also one of the most powerful tools for success. So, how can rejection transform your life? Rejection feels personal. It hits deep. It shakes our confidence. But what if we started looking at rejection differently? Instead of seeing it as a personal failure, what if we saw it as life steering us in the right direction? There are two types of rejection. External rejection, when someone else rejects you, jobs, relationships, social situations, opportunities. Internal rejection, when you reject yourself, self-doubt, fear, negative self-talk. Both are painful, but both can be used for growth. So let's dive deep into stories that prove rejection isn't the end. It's just the beginning.
The actor who was told he'd never make it.
Imagine a young man with big dreams of becoming an actor. He goes to audition after audition, but every single time he's turned down. They say he doesn't have the looks. They say he doesn't have the talent. They say he should quit. So, what does he do? He keeps going. He works on his craft. He sharpens his skills. And years later, that young man is none other than Chris Pratt, one of Hollywood's biggest stars. The same industry that rejected him now celebrates him. Why rejection is redirection. Chris Pratt could have taken rejection as proof that he wasn't good enough. But he didn't. So he pushed forward, and that rejection redirected him to the path he was meant to walk.
The entrepreneur who got laughed out of meetings.
She had a revolutionary idea. She pitched it to dozens of investors, but every single one of them said no. They told her it would never work. They told her to give up. So she took matters into her own hands. She believed in herself when no one else did. And today, Sarah Blakely is the billionaire founder of Spanx. The very people who laughed at her now admire her success. Why rejection tests your persistence? Rejection is painful, but it forces you to ask yourself, do I really want this? So, if the answer is yes, prove it.
The athlete who was cut from his high school team.
He loved basketball. It was his passion. But when the team list went up, his name wasn't there. He wasn't good enough. So he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. But he didn't stop. He practiced harder. He trained longer. And that boy, that was Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time. Why rejection builds resilience. Rejection knocks you down, but it also shows you how strong you really are. So get back up.
The scientist who was told his idea was impossible.
There was a scientist who had a wild idea, one that could change medicine forever. But nobody believed him. His peers laughed at him, his research was dismissed, and funding? Non-existent. So he worked alone. He proved them wrong. And today, Dr. Barry Marshall's discovery of bacteria causing ulcers won him a Nobel Prize. Why rejection fuels innovation? Every great breakthrough starts with rejection. But instead of giving up, true innovators keep pushing. So the next time you face rejection, ask yourself, is this the world telling me to quit? Or is this my chance to prove them wrong?
How to handle rejection in your own life.
Rejection is inevitable, but the way you respond to it, that's your choice. So here's how you can turn rejection into success. Reframe rejection. Instead of seeing it as failure, see it as feedback. Analyze and adapt. Learn from rejection, make changes, and try again. Keep going. The only true failure is giving up too soon.
The musician who was told he had no talent.
There was a young musician with dreams of making it big. He poured his soul into his music. But every record label he approached slammed the door in his face. They said his voice wasn't good enough. His style wouldn't sell. He wasn't marketable. So he refused to give up. He started performing in small clubs, posting his music online, and building his own fan base. And now, That musician is Ed Sheeran, one of the best-selling artists in the world. Why rejection is just one opinion. One person's rejection doesn't define your worth. But if you let it stop you, you'll never know your true potential. So keep showing up until the right person sees what you have to offer.
The writer who was rejected over 100 times.
She spent years writing a book she believed in. She sent it to dozens of publishers, but every single one of them rejected her. They said no one would read it, that it wasn't worth printing. So she kept pushing forward. She finally found one publisher willing to take a chance. And that book, it became a bestseller. That writer, Agatha Christie, one of the most successful authors in history. Why rejection is a test of patience. Rejection doesn't mean never, it just means not yet. But most people give up too soon. So if you truly believe in what you're doing, keep knocking until the right door opens.
The businessman who lost everything.
He had a successful business. Life was going well. But one day, he lost everything. He went bankrupt, his reputation took a hit, and people told him he was finished. So he didn't quit. He learned from his mistakes, started again, and built an even bigger empire. That businessman, Walt Disney. Why rejection is a lesson, not a life sentence. Failure isn't final, but only if you choose to learn from it. So instead of seeing rejection as the end, see it as a new beginning.
The scientist who was ignored for years.
She made a scientific discovery that could change lives, but her peers dismissed her. No one took her seriously. Funding was impossible to get, so she kept working. She didn't stop, and eventually the world recognized her brilliance. That scientist, Dr. Tu Huyu, who discovered groundbreaking malaria treatments and won a Nobel Prize. Why rejection separates the dreamers from the doers. Many people have great ideas, but only those who push through rejection bring them to life. So if you believe in something, don't wait for permission, make it happen.
The hidden benefits of rejection.
Rejection feels painful, but what if I told you it comes with hidden benefits? It builds character. Facing rejection makes you stronger. It helps you improve. Feedback helps you grow. It guides you to better paths. Sometimes rejection is protection. Why you need rejection to succeed. No success story exists without rejection. But the difference between those who make it and those who don't is simple. So, will you let rejection stop you or push you forward?
Why you must embrace rejection.
Rejection isn't a failure, it's feedback. But too many people see it as the end. So they stop trying, they settle, and they let someone else decide their worth. But not you. So the next time you face rejection, don't run from it, use it. Rejection will test your emotions. It will make you doubt yourself. But emotional control is the key to handling rejection like a winner. So if you want to master your emotions and never let rejection break you again, watch this next video right here.